Today, as the internet has become the lifeblood of the economy, society, and national security, cross-border cybercrime is growing ever more sophisticated and dangerous. According to a United Nations report, the global economic loss caused by cybercrime now exceeds $8 trillion each year, with millions of attacks taking place every single day. In Southeast Asia alone, online scams have caused losses of more than $23 billion, not only financial damage, but also emotional trauma for millions of victims. In this context, a global convention on cybercrime is seen as a collective safeguard, establishing principles of cooperation to help countries coexist peacefully and develop sustainably in cyberspace. In 2022, the remote Klong village in Ia O Commune, Ia Grai district, Gia Lai province, was shaken when 7 young villagers were tricked and sold to Cambodia. But that number did not stop at 7. Since then, local authorities have coordinated to rescue dozens more victims, most of them from ethnic minority communities, gullible and lacking legal awareness.
Being able to return to my family is a great relief. The border guard station and the commune police helped me build a house and find a new job.
The
scammers beat me when I failed to perform their tasks. I'm illiterate, so they forced me into all sorts of illegal trading, gambling, even selling drugs. I was terrified and called my family. They asked for a ransom of 150 million Vietnam dong.
After being rescued and brought home, the young people received strong support from local authorities and armed forces to rebuild their lives. New houses, small farms, and stable jobs have given them a fresh start and the chance to stand on their own feet.
The state and local authorities have developed programs to help the returnees with housing and jobs. They are now aware of their wrongdoings. Now they pledge not to follow anyone else. The local authorities have assisted families of the returnees to build homes. We have also invited them to do handy jobs at Military Corps 15. Additionally, we have invited them to join mechanical training at Gia Lai College. Many have found work after the course.
Security forces and local agencies have jointly organized awareness campaigns, provided livelihoods, allocated farmland, and introduced vocational training. Some former victims have even become active community advocates themselves.
It scared me. Now I help my parents at home, doing handiworks like picking coffee and gathering firewood. If anyone invites me to go again, I won't go, and advise them not to go either.
The story of Klong Village reflects a broader reality along many border regions, where poverty and a lack of awareness continue to make people vulnerable to false promises of easy jobs with high pay. Today, these traps are no longer limited to physical border crossings. They have crept into the online world, where criminals use increasingly sophisticated psychological tactics to manipulate victims into leaving home voluntarily. On September 30, police in Tan Lap Ward, Dak Lak province, received a report that an 18-year-old university student had left home and was suspected of being lured into an online kidnapping. Within hours, police traced her location to a passenger bus traveling from Dak Lak to Ho Chi Minh City. Authorities immediately contacted the bus company, instructing the driver to monitor the situation and prevent her from getting off mid-route. When the bus was about 100 kilometers from its destination, her family, working with the driver and assistant, brought her home safely.
They told me I was involved in a drug trafficking and money laundering. I didn't believe it at first. However, by a variety of means, they lured me in for a while and eventually made me believe in the story. They manipulated me, forbidding me from contacting my relatives or friends. After a while, they said they had a way out. They rented a room far from home, then took me to Ho Chi Minh City and started planning my next moves. When they did video calls, the room looked convincing. Police uniforms and identity cards, nameplates, even a statue of President Ho Chi Minh.
cầu vai, thẻ ngành, bản tên, tượng bác.
When I called my child, the phone rang, but no one picked up. I called hundreds of times. I thought my child had been kidnapped, so I reported it to the police. If it hadn't been for the ward police rescuing my child, I don't know what would have happened. Maybe the worst. I'm truly grateful.
From deceiving the elderly, ethnic minorities, and those unfamiliar with technology, cybercriminals have now turned their sights on students and young people, those who are tech-savvy but lack self-defense skills. At a broader level, even vital national institutions, such as the State Bank of Vietnam, have become targets of hacker attacks, raising serious concerns about national data security in the digital era. On September 10, the Vietnam Cyber Emergency Response Center received a report of a cybersecurity incident at the National Credit Information Center. Initial investigations found signs of intrusion and data theft. They coordinated to take emergency countermeasures. These incidents show that cybercrime is no longer confined to individuals or within national borders. This underscores the urgent need for a global legal framework that allows nations to collaborate in investigation, information sharing, tracking, and prosecution of cybercriminals. That is why Vietnam's participation, together with more than 100 countries, in the United Nations Convention Against Cybercrime signing ceremony is not just a political commitment. It is a practical step toward building digital trust and ensuring human security in the technological age.
It reflects the fast-evolving landscape of technology, including artificial intelligence, AI, and digital currencies. With a unified framework and strengthened cooperation, law enforcement agencies will be able to exchange information, share evidence, and investigate cross-border crimes more effectively.
A global convention on cybercrime is not only a measure to protect citizens and financial systems, but also a foundation for countries to coexist safely and cooperate for mutual development in cyberspace, a borderless realm that still requires the boundaries of law and trust. The convention will give Vietnam and other participating nations a solid legal basis for effective cooperation in investigation, extradition, and prosecution of high-tech crimes, demonstrating Vietnam's responsible contribution to the international community.